Well, peace and blessings to you all. It's a wonderful day here, and I am blessed and fortunate to have been tasked with the opportunity to bring this bit of sunshine into your world here for my dear friends at Central Presbyterian Church. I am Dr. Raul Richardson, and I'm doubly blessed to be in sanctuary today to have a discussion with you for this Lenten celebration concerning the intersectionality between diversity, equity, inclusion, and the environment. So, as I sit in a place of sanctuary, surrounded by all of the glory of the creation, the birds, reds and blues, doves and finches, and the sounds that they make, they bless my soul. I'm also fortunate to be able to look out from my devotion time and experience the absolute beauty and joy that comes from seeing the wind whip through the trees and to hear the geese coming from over the pond, and I'm blessed by all of it. As a central theme of today's talk and this process, I want to draw your attentions to the scriptures. The book of Genesis, the first chapter, the 26th verse, which reads, "And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." And I choose this point as a reference to this conversation, and most people miss the point of the tasking of the responsibility, Herculean as it may be, by the Creator to us, His creation. And the word dominion in this reference point doesn't necessarily reflect all that people may take from it. Today we're going to explore how that dominion reference really relates to the concept of stewardship, the responsibility of guiding, protecting, and preserving all that is in the context of creation, and what responsibility, great as it may be, that we have as creatures of the Creator, and the responsibility for protecting this environment. Because after all, we only have one earth. As I share with my dear friend and brother, Mr. Ben Brenner, it's an amazing responsibility, and the very fact that we exist at all, moving on a rock, propelling through the universe at the speed that we're propelling. Yet we don't get flung off into the cosmos, the precision of the mathematics necessary to keep us grounded here on Earth. The equally remarkable perspective as it relates to us exhaling our oxygen into the atmosphere and the trees taking in that carbon dioxide and then ultimately re-releasing it back for us to recirculate it for our very existence. The fact of the matter is that give or take a degree, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the most, our ability to even inhale and exhale will be changed by virtue of the pressure placed upon our lungs. All of these things are marvelously interwoven together to provide a level of intersectionality that allows us to exist. And if we're not mindful of the science of it all, at least taking the beauty of butterflies, the importance of bees, and all that surround us. I want to take a moment to read a poem from a brilliant author that I discovered some time ago on a Bill Moyers journal. His name is Wendell Berry. And Mr. Berry wrote a poem that I think is apropos for what we're efforting to communicate today. And that poem is called Hope. And it's a few minutes long, so I pray your indulgence as I read it to you, because I think what it conveys is such an important narrative to this conversation between our environment, the creation, and the diversity represented therein. And it starts out, it says, "It's hard to have hope. It's harder as you grow old. For hope must not depend on feeling good, and there's the dream of loneliness and absolute midnight. For you also have withdrawn belief in the present reality of the future, which surely will surprise us. And hope is harder when it cannot come by prediction. any more than by wishing. But stop dithering. The young ask of the old to hope. What will you tell them? Tell them at least what you say to yourself. Because we have not made our lives to fit our places. The forests are ruined, the fields eroded, the streams polluted, the mountains overturned, but hope. Then to belong in your place by your own knowledge of what is it that no other place is, and by you're caring for it as you are to care for one another in this place that you belong to, though it is not yours. For it was from the beginning, and it will be to the end. Belong to your place by knowledge of the others who are your neighbors in it. The old man, sick, the poor, who comes like a heron to fish in the creek, and the fish in the creek, and the heron who man like fishes for the fish in the creek, and the birds who sing. In the trees, in the silence of the fishermen, and the heron, and the trees that keep the land, they stand upon as we too must keep it, or die. This knowledge cannot be taken from you by power or by wealth. It will stop your ears to the powerful when they ask for your faith, and to the wealthy when they ask for your land and your work. Answer with knowledge the others who are here and how to be here with them. By this knowledge, make the sense you need to make by it stand. In the dignity of good sense, whatever may follow, speak to your fellow humans as your place has taught you to speak, as it has spoken to you. Speak in the dialect as your old compatriots spoke it before they had heard a radio. Speak publicly what cannot be taught or learned in public. Listen privately, silently, to the voices that rise up from the pages of books and from your own heart. Be still and listen to the voices that belong to the stream banks and the trees and the open fields. There are songs and sayings that belong to this place, by which it speaks for itself and no other. Found your hope, then on the ground under your feet, your hope of heaven. Let it rest on the ground underfoot. Be it lighted by the light that falls freely upon it after the darkness of the nights and the darkness of our ignorance and madness. Let it be lighted also by the light that is within you, which is the light of imagination. By it you see the likeness of people in other places to yourself, in your place. It lights invariably the need for care toward other people, other creatures, and in other places, as you would ask them for care toward your place and you. No place last is better than the world. The world is no better than its places, and its places at last are no better than their people, while their people continue in them. When the people make dark, the light is within them, and the world as it darkens. This is a poem by Wendell Berry. I use this poem because within the context of the environment and being good stewards of this planet and all the creatures in it as was ordained by the Creator, there's an intersectionality that occurs when we look at this concept relative to diversity and inclusion. And while there may be many struggles as it relates to how can we be more inclusive, how can we be more respectful, how can we be more intentional in developing and deriving equity for those members of our community, at the end of the day, it comes to wanting for others that which you seek for yourself, being a respecter of persons as well as of place. And at the end of the day, we have to recognize and realize that even the least of us, even the most of us, if we were to remove one element from the baker, the butcher, the shoemaker, from the doctor, the scientist, the musician, what would be the impact on the greater society, the greater culture? The diversity that we seek to embrace, the equity and inclusion that we seek to form more stronger ties and bonds to, cannot diminish the value of every contributing member. The scriptures often make reference to the importance of the body, and we talk about the eye and the hand, the nose and the ear, but we give very little thought to the tiny toe, lest that toe be ravaged with sickness, illness, or pain, and then it draws attention to us and makes us realize that, you know what, that pain in my little toe is significant. Perhaps I can't walk, perhaps I can't stand, maybe I cannot easily escape the captor. So many things are intertwined together. We recognize the importance of predators and prey, but what happens when we make extinct the predator? What is the increase in the number of prey? What's the impact on the rest of the environment? What happens when the fish of the sea that were responsible for helping us to act as the oysters do to clean the water are suddenly impacted in some way and they're not available to provide that cleansing mechanism? So many things are tied together. At the end of the day, we must be respecters of persons and places and things and take seriously our responsibility to be stewards of this place and lovers and kind-hearted to those people that may look like us and may not look like us, and all the differences that lie between. And at the end of the day, that's my message to you about environment, intersectionality, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you.